An unexamined life is not worth living. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. He is richest who is content with the least, for content is the wealth of nature. One thing only I know, and that is that I know nothing. The only good is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance. There is only one good, knowledge, and one evil, ignorance. To find yourself, think for yourself. True knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing. When the debate is over, slander becomes the tool of the loser. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Be slow to fall into friendship, but when you are in, continue firm and constant. By all means marry. If you get a good wife, you'll become happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. Death may be the greatest of all human blessings. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. Employ your time in improving yourself, by other men's writings, so that you shall come easily by what others have labored hard for. He who is not contented with what he has, would not be contented with what he would like to have. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. If you don't get what you want, you suffer. If you get what you don't want, you suffer. Even when you get exactly what you want, you still suffer because you can't hold on to it forever. Your mind is your predicament. It wants to be free of change, free of pain, free of the obligations of life and death. But change is law, and no amount of pretending will alter that reality. Let him who would move the world first move himself. No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. Sometimes you put walls up not to keep people out, but to see who cares enough to break them down. Strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, weak minds discuss people. The children now love luxury. They have bad manners, contempt for authority. They show disrespect for elders, and love chatter in place of exercise. Children are now tyrants, not the servants of their households. They no longer rise when elders enter the room. They contradict their parents, chatter before company, gobble up dainties at the table, cross their legs, and tyrannize their teachers. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less. The unexamined life is not worth living. There is only one good, knowledge, and one evil, ignorance. To find yourself, think for yourself. Wonder is the beginning of wisdom. Life contains but two tragedies. One is not to get your heart's desire, the other is to get it. Once made equal to man, woman becomes his superior. Prefer knowledge to wealth, for the one is transitory, the other perpetual. The greatest way to live with honor in this world is to be what we pretend to be. The hottest love has the coldest end. The hour of departure has arrived, and we go our separate ways, I to die, and you to live. Which of these two is better, only God knows. The only good is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance. To fear death, gentlemen, is no other than to think oneself wise when one is not, to think one knows what one does not know. No one knows whether death may not be the greatest of all blessings for a man, yet men fear it as if they knew that it is the greatest of evils. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. Understanding a question is half an answer. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. We cannot live better than in seeking to become better. No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. Remember that there is nothing stable in human affairs. Therefore avoid undue elation in prosperity, or undue depression in adversity. Remember what is unbecoming to do, is also unbecoming to speak of. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. The easiest and noblest way is not to be crushing others, but to be improving yourselves. The guardians must be lovers of learning, like noble puppies, who determine what is familiar and foreign by knowledge and ignorance. The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less. The shortest and surest way to live with honor in the world is to be in reality what we would appear to be. And if we observe, we shall find that all human virtues increase and strengthen themselves by the practice of them. When the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. When you want wisdom and insight as badly as you want to breathe, it is then you shall have it. Be the kind of person that you want people to think you are. Children nowadays are tyrants. They contradict their parents, gobble their food, and tyrannize their teachers. He is richest who is content with the least, for content is the wealth of nature. I do nothing but go about persuading you all, old and young alike, not to take thought for your persons or your properties, but and chiefly to care about the greatest improvement of the soul. I know that I am intelligent, because I know that I know nothing. If the whole world depends on today's youth, I can't see the world lasting another 100 years. In childhood be modest, in youth temperate, in adulthood just, and in old age prudent. Nobody is qualified to become a statesman who is entirely ignorant of the problem of wheat. The greatest blessing granted to mankind come by way of madness, which is a divine gift. Wealth does not bring about excellence, but excellence makes wealth, and everything else good for men, both individually and collectively. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. An education obtained with money is worse than no education at all. Smart people learn from everything and everyone, average people from their experiences, stupid people already have all the answers. Know that I am intelligent, because I know that I know nothing. The only good is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance. To know is to know that you know nothing. That is the meaning of true knowledge. The only thing I know is that I know nothing, and I am no quite sure that I know that. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. Prefer knowledge to wealth, for the one is transitory, the other perpetual. I am the wisest man alive, for I know one thing, and that is that I know nothing. True knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. I am certainly wiser than this man. It is only too likely that neither of us has any knowledge to boast of, but he thinks that he knows something, which he does not know, whereas I am quite conscious of my ignorance. At any rate, it seems that I am wiser than he is to this small extent, that I do not think that I know what I do not know. We are in fact convinced that if we are ever to have pure knowledge of anything, we must get rid of the body, and contemplate things by themselves, with the soul by itself. It seems, to judge from the argument, that the wisdom which we desire, and upon which we profess to have set our hearts, will be attainable only when we are dead, and not in our lifetime. Whom do I call educated? First, those who manage well the circumstances they encounter day by day. Next, those who are decent and honorable in their intercourse with all men, bearing easily and good-naturedly what is offensive in others, and being as agreeable and reasonable to their associates as is humanly possible to be. Those who hold their pleasures always under control, and are not ultimately overcome by their misfortunes. Those who are not spoiled by their successes, who do not desert their true selves, but hold the ground steadfastly, as wise and sober-minded men.